Questions bring us to one of the most difficult territories we must cross in our exploration of addiction and grace. For the answer is as unequivocal as it is unpleasant. No addiction is good. No attachment is beneficial. To be sure, some are more destructive than others. Alcoholism cannot be compared with chocolate addiction in degrees of destructiveness. And fierce spiders pales in comparison to racial bigotry. But if we accept that there are differences in the degree of tragedy imposed upon us by our addictions, we must also recognize what they have in common. They impede human freedom and diminish the human spirit. It is surely good for parents to care for their children and for people to be kind to one another and to seek God. It would be wonderful if we could make a habit of such activities. But there's a vast difference between doing these things because we freely choose and doing them because we are compelled. In the first case, the motivation is love. In the second, it's slavery. One could make the case that motivation is not so important, that what counts is getting the good things done. In short-term situations, this seems to make sense. Some good things are done because of addiction. If someone is hungry, it is indeed better that they be fed by someone who is attached to doing good deeds than that they starve because someone else is free to choose not to feed them. But consider this hypothetical second person for a moment. If he or she were really free from attachment, there would be no reason not to feed the hungry one. Love, the core of our creation, would call it forth spontaneously. The only reason we could have for choosing against true compassion and charity is that we are addicted to something else. Uncharitable behavior can never be justified on the basis of freedom from attachment. To try to do so is to engage in mind tricks, not freedom. Further, the entire situation posed here is irrevocably hypothetical, for no one is truly free from attachment. We must work with our addictions, seeking the grace within them and trying to minimize their destructiveness instead of spending our time fantasizing what it would be like to be totally free of them. Total freedom, religion tells us, is paradise, the final salvation in the full reign of God. It is a goal that we must work toward, but it is also something we must hope and wait for. Paul speaks of this in words that we will hear again in our exploration of addiction and grace. From the beginning till now, all creation has been groaning in one great act of giving birth. We too groan inwardly as we wait for our bodies to be set free. It is something we must wait for in patience. No, we must try to put to rest any notion that addictions are good. The only goodness in them is that they can defeat our pride and lead us to more openness to grace. It may also help to remember that the destructiveness of addictions does not lie in the things to which we are attached, nor even in the simple desires for them. The things themselves are simply part of creation, and God made them inherently good. The destructiveness of addiction lies in our slavery to these things, turning desire into compulsion with ugly and loveless consequences for ourselves and the world. The more we can understand about how enslavement happens to us, the more we may be able to turn in the direction of freedom and love. Amen. All right, thank you for tuning in. Go to the next video for chapter 3 of Addictions and Grace.